Welcome to Life, Love, and Pop Culture. I am your host, Danielle Delgado. Today, I am joined by Bret from CBS's hit show, Inspectors. Can you summarize the show for me a little bit?
Yeah, The Inspectors follows my character, Preston, and his mom, Amanda. She is a United States Postal Inspector, and so she is essentially a federal agent that handles crimes that go through the mail. Anything mail-related is their jurisdiction. And then my character, Preston, is he's in college. He's 19, 20, somewhere in there, early college. And he wants to be an inspector. However, he is in a wheelchair. And it's just an uphill battle because, in order to be in the field, you've got to be able to move and do all these things. And so he's determined to walk and get out of his chair. And so there's a really cool story there of a kid who was born able-bodied and had a tragic accident that took, the use of his legs and his father's life. And so it's just a good story of that family trying to, put the pieces back together and move on with life and start to understand, what life looks like now.
Yeah, I love a good crime show, but the premise of this show is a little different. I love how it conveys a positive message about living with a disability. How did you prepare for this role?
It was a really tough role to prepare for because it's something that, as an able-bodied person, I can't pull from real-life experiences that directly relate to Preston's circumstances. But, with the help of a lot of amazing people who are in chairs, I learned, about their accidents and their rehabilitation and the emotional toll it's taken, every aspect from making new friends to trying to date to getting out of bed in the morning, just everything that happens. And again, I'll never fully understand that, but to try to put myself in those shoes and then accurately tell that story, we put a lot of attention into trying to get it right and make it as accurate as possible. And it's great. It's a good platform to tell a story and to have a character on television, on network TV that does have a disability. And I know there's another show right now, Speechless. That's on network TV with one of the main characters that has a disability. So it's something that is starting to gain a little more steam, and I think it's good for people to see diverse characters on television and in film.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was watching a couple of the episodes, and your character he seems so cheerful, and I love that.
Yeah, I think you have to be in a situation like that. I think when you're in a situation that could be really and of course it's television, so we see the good side of it. You know what I mean? It's not all sunshine and rainbows for anybody in this world, let alone somebody with his circumstances. So there's definitely the struggles and all that, and we do see a little bit of that in the show, which as actors we love to do. We don't want to just be smiling the whole time and pretending like everything's great, because we know that that's just not how life works. And so it's really fun to get to do those scenes where we get to express some concern or express feelings of anger or feelings of just you want to give up and all this stuff. It makes for I think it makes for good TV, and it makes for good life lessons as well.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most challenging part about bringing the script to life?
I think probably doing it accurately, and I know I've said that probably 3 or 4 times already, but it means so much to us that I will say it again, is just making sure that it's sensitive subject material, making sure we're not offending anybody, making sure that everything we do is accurate, and making sure that it's real. And I think we do a really good job of it. We've always got somebody on set while we're shooting, a consultant role, who is in a wheelchair, who has been in a chair for years and years and years. And so we always defer to them and say, hey, is this right? How would I do this? how would I be feeling? What do you think you'd be feeling here? Has something like this ever happened to you? And so to be able to go to them and draw from their experiences has been invaluable, and I'm just incredibly grateful to have the support that we have.
Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea you had somebody on set, like, helping you and directing you. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of our, I don't want to say my security blanket, but it is. I wouldn't want to play, a doctor on a show and not have somebody on set who knows what they're talking about when it comes to medical terminology. And so any role that is that specific, that's far removed from who you actually are as a person. You just want to make sure that you're doing it right, and you want to make sure that no one's going to turn on the show and see something and say no, that would never happen, or that's not how that works, or that kind of thing. So a lot of attention goes into that.
Yeah. Why did you want to be involved with this particular show?
It's one of those things where I when I was first offered the role, I instantly accepted it as a challenge. I knew that it was going to be difficult. I knew that there was potential that I may face some scrutiny for it, but I was up for the challenge, and I thought that this was an important story that needed to be told. And I think our show's creator, Dave Morgan, wrote this show years ago, and when he wrote it, that was exactly what he had in mind. So I want to tell a story of a brave young man who has had the deck stacked against him and overcomes and is this beacon of light for everybody, not just people in chairs, but anybody going through a tough time or a challenge or obstacle in life. So it's on CBS, and it's good work, and it's an opportunity to act and get out there. As actors, we don't get these opportunities all that often to jump on a show and be a series regular and do 4 seasons of a show. We've done 2, and we just got picked up for 2 more. Oh. And so it's really exciting to get to work, basically for 3 years on a show with a cast that I really love, with producers that went to bat for me and gave me my first opportunity. And so I'll be forever grateful for this experience, and look forward to the things that come after it.
Well, congratulations on getting picked up again. That's a big deal.
Thank you very much. It's always great news to know that you get to reprive that character and do it again, and bring more to it, and have time away from it to kind of think more about it and figure out what you can do to bring something else to it. And so yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
You made some guest appearances on some amazing shows like Jane the Virgin and How to Get Away with Murder. When did you realize that you made it in this industry?
Well, I still don't feel like I've made it.
Really?
I guess the long and short answer is I don't think I have made it anywhere yet, but I am incredibly grateful and for the opportunities that I've had, and I look forward to everything that comes in the future too.
Well, I guess you have to stay hungry, right? Because if you feel like you've made
Absolutely.
it, then you're done. What made you catch the acting bug?
As a kid, I did theater, and I would put on plays for my parents. My siblings and I would, we'd watch episodes of Home Improvement or Saved by the Bell or whatever show was the flavor of the month time, and we would we'd hand out roles. All right, you get to be Tim, and you're Al, and you're whoever, and we're gonna sit down and we'll write a quick little skit, and we put on these performances in our basement for my parents and grandparents, and they loved it. They would take us to plays, and we would do we'd always play charades and do all that stuff. And I just realized at a young age, I really enjoyed doing it. I liked being on stage. I liked being the center of attention. I liked telling jokes and just having fun. And so I think I knew from a young age I wanted to do it. And so I just never really got as involved as I probably should have or maybe wanted to. But, I trust that everything kind of happens the way it's supposed to. And I started out doing journalism, and I really enjoyed that. I was the sports editor from a high school newspaper. And then I went on to do a little bit of journalism for the school paper at my college. And then I wanted to do TV broadcasting. So I started to get, the on-camera, I guess that kind of relates to acting, and I really wanted to be an anchor on SportsCenter. That was my goal. And then somewhere along the line, I just thought, there's more that I can do than limiting it to just journalism or just broadcast journalism. So I kind of started expanding and doing some short films and taking some improv classes and trying some stuff, and I realized I really liked it. So I said, life's too short to not do what you love to do.
Do you remember your first role?
Yeah. Wasn't big by any means. My very first role ever was in fourth grade. I played it was in A Christmas Carol. I was like a dancer, which is really funny. I had this little like red cowboy hat, and gosh, my mom still has the picture, and they were just so proud and thought it was so cool. I was like one of the background dancers in like one of the ensemble scenes, if you will. So I was super, like, basically an extra on stage. But we had to learn a dance routine and everything like that. So that was the first time I had ever gotten on stage and done any type of performing in front of people, which was really, really cool and fun and scary at the same time. But my first ever like on camera experience, I was actually working. I was living in Arizona, and I had a full-time job with a boss who was pretty lenient and didn't really keep tabs on us. And my good friend and I, who we both worked together, we booked this short film, and we basically just left the office one day to go shoot this short film and just crossed our fingers and hoped our boss didn't find out about it, and didn't. And we went out, and it was like a paintball scene, and we played best friends who were, out playing paintball, and we were like shooting paintball guns and running around, and they had this. It ended up looking really, really cool, and that was the first time I'd ever like really been on camera and done something. I was playing hooky from work, and it was a fun experience, and it made me want to keep doing it.
Oh wow, that's funny. Okay, going back to that performance, are you telling me that you're a good dancer because you had some experience, or what?
I'm a fantastic dancer.
Are you really?
I like to think so.
Who have you looked up to? Like, who has been your biggest influence?
That's a great question. One of my big influences, or not even influences, I guess, or just like inspirations, or somebody that I just think, seems like he's done it the right way. And it always sounds so weird when people hear it, but I really like Channing Tatum. I think he seems like such a cool guy and humble, and everyone that I've worked with who has worked with him in the past says that about him, that he's just the coolest guy ever, and grateful and insanely talented. But he, got off to a late start, sort of like me, and so I just sort of admire his work ethic and his humility. And I've got all kinds of favorite actors. I like Mark Wahlberg. I like Denzel Washington. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's one of the best actors of our time. And so yeah, I like to draw from all of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with Channing Tatum, so.
Did we just become best friends?
I think we did. That way. If you had the opportunity to work with anybody, who would it be?
I think I'd want to do a scene, or a movie, or whatever. If I guess I can't be too picky, so let's just say one scene. I would want to do it with somebody like Denzel Washington.
Yeah, you're shooting for the big stars now, huh?
Oh yeah, we're shooting for the moon. We don't have no small goals over here. I always say if your goals don't scare the hell out of you, they're not big enough.
If you had the power to instantly be cast on a show, what show would you be on next?
Good question. I really like the show This Is Us on NBC.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I want to do something like that. Like that'd be like my dream show. Is something that it's a super, super dramatic show, right? But that's why I like it. I like that it's real, and there's no frills, there's no fluff. It's just like, hey, this is life. This is what happens, and here's how people deal with it. Power on Starz is a really cool show. Empire is one of my favorite shows. So any show. I mean, I'm so not picky when it comes to awesome TV shows that I would love to be a part of.
What is something that you would want to be remembered for?
What is something that I want to be remembered for?
Mm-hmm.
I think that I would like to be remembered as a great friend, somebody that listened. Somebody who listened more than he talked. Somebody that was I was at my grandpa's funeral this past summer, and it really put some things in perspective for me, because I didn't realize how well liked he was. I mean, he was a smooth man. He had charm just oozing out of him, and there were people there from 40 years ago that hadn't seen him in that long, and that showed up to pay the respects. And it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many people show up, and you'll never know how many people showed up to your funeral. But that being said, he was just remembered for being a really good man who always had a smile on his face and was always positive and optimistic and always saw the good in people. And I would love to be remembered that same way.
Oh, that's really sweet, Bret. I really love that. Thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed getting to know you a lot better. And tune in next time, guys, as we discuss more life, love, and pop culture.